Succeeding as a virtual assistant in Nigeria is not easy, but entirely possible for almost anyone. And in this video, I'm going to share with you how I started and become a successful virtual assistant with no prior knowledge, with zero experience, and with very limited resources. I'm going to share with you how I quit my full-time job and become a full-time virtual assistant, and how I grew to over $3,000 per month, and also how I become a top-rated virtual assistant on Upwork. Okay, let's get started with the how. When I started virtual assistants, I didn't really start as a virtual assistant. When I started as a freelancer. I started freelancing, that is back in 2019. And when I got started, I had a full-time job that paid me around 45,000 naira salary per month. And I had a family responsibility, so 45,000 naira per month is not easy. And for that reason, I kept thinking if only there is a way to earn some extra income outside of my job. And that is what led me to start searching for how to make money online, because I had some extra time on my hand and I have access to computer. And when I started searching for how to make money online, I came across many things that you find when you search for how to make money online. And those are like affiliate marketing, blogging, and many of the things that some work and some will not work. And eventually I came across freelancing. And after I tried several of those other things like dropshipping and what have you, I started freelancing. And when I started freelancing, that is where I started earning my first money online. And so I started my career back in 2019 as a freelancer. And when I started, I had no knowledge of freelancing at all. I know very little about it. And the little that I know it based on the search that I did on Google and on YouTube. And I learned from few influencers, freelancing influencers. And I take the leap and just get started. Now remember, I started with no knowledge of freelancing and I started with no experience as a complete beginner. And that is the spot that most of you watching this video, you are at that stage. You have no experience and no reviews, no nothing, you are just getting started. That is how I got started in 2019. And when I got started, I had one major problem. The problem is I did not have a personal computer. I have a work computer that I work with it in the office. That's where I work with it at office and I leave it at the office. And what I did is I tried to learn as much as I can on my phone. I watch YouTube videos, check articles on Google, and whatever I needed to implement, I implemented it after I closed from work before I leave the office. And later I got really interested in freelancing. I know there is a potential of making money in freelancing, so I knew I had to get a computer. I knew I had to get a personal computer. So I go and bought a computer, and it's not new. I bought it at I think around 25,000 naira or 30,000 naira back then in 2019. And the computer was very small. It has very little capacity. You can imagine for a 25,000 naira computer. It has very limited capacity. It runs on Windows 8. And that is what I had access to at that point, and that is what I had to work with. And I created my first freelancing profile on freelancer.com. I started searching for client. I found my first client is an Indian. I found him is an Indian. I did some work for him. I found another client. I work with few clients on freelancer.com before I generate some money to invest in a bigger computer. And eventually I created another freelancer profile on Fiverr, and I work on Fiverr. I stopped working on freelancer.com, work on Fiverr. Later I work on Upwork. I started working on Upwork, and eventually I discovered virtual assistants. And when I discovered virtual assistant, I already had some good knowledge of freelancing. I knew how to write proposals. I knew how to create a good profile. I knew a lot of this, and I have some skills already to start selling as a virtual assistant. So I transitioned from freelancer, working with different clients every single week. I transitioned to a virtual assistant where I work with just a few clients for a long time. So I work with fewer clients and I earn more income. So I focus on being a virtual assistant, and working as a virtual assistant within just a few months of starting working as a virtual assistant, I was earning what I was earning from my virtual assistant career every single month is like what my full-time job paid me in like 3 years. So I didn't see any reason why to continue working for my full-time job. So I quit my full-time job and focus on being a full-time virtual assistant. And as soon as I quit my full-time job, it was very easy to increase my earning, to increase my income, because I had more time, I had more free time at my hand. So what I did is I just take another one client, and the one client that I took pay me every single week what my full-time job pay me in 6 months. So it is a really good bargain. So I quit my full-time job and focus on being a virtual assistant. I work with only 2 clients for a very long time. So because I have a lot of experience, I have a lot of proof that will show that I know what I am doing, finding a client become not a challenge for me. I can find a client anytime that I want to find clients. And for a long time, since I book out, since I sold all my hours as a virtual assistant, since I sold all the hours that I am willing to work, I really stopped working on freelancing platforms. Until about recently, when I met someone and I like them, I like what they do, and I took off their project. I have been working for them for some time, and I don't know what the requirements are, but I just received an email from Upwork that congratulates me, I'm a top rated virtual assistant. I check out my profile and they give me that top rated badge. I don't even know what the requirements are. So that is another achievement, that whenever I want to find a client, it is going to be a lot easier for me on those platforms. So this is really the summary of my journey from the time I started as a freelancer up to the moment where I started virtual assistant, up to the moment where I reached over $3,000 per month, and how I become a top rated seller on Upwork. And the key takeaways here is you will succeed as a virtual assistant in Nigeria if you are willing to make it work. There are a lot of challenges that I cannot mention them in one video. But if you are really dedicated to making it work, then you will figure out how to overcome any challenge that you encounter. So if you want to become a virtual assistant in Nigeria, if you want to succeed, then you have to have this mindset. You are going to do whatever it takes to make it work. You will come across challenges for sure, and if giving up is not part of your options, then when you come across a challenge, you will figure out how to overcome the challenge, and you will do whatever it takes to overcome the challenge. And the very first step for you shall be, get started before you are ready. Just get started and figure out things along the way. That I personally believe that is the best way to learn. And it doesn't matter if you have very limited resources. I started with very limited resources and I still figure out a way to make it work. So I personally believe that if you want to make it work, you will make it work. Just think about the life that you will have if you succeed as a virtual assistant. And that should be part of the motivation that will keep you going. So don't put it off any longer. Don't think about starting tomorrow. Just get started today. Create your freelancer, create your virtual assistant profile on a freelancing platform, and just get started on the process. Whatever challenge you come across, find a way to overcome it. If you find this video helpful, please give it a like. So don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and I will see you in the next video.